And hi, hello. We are live. We are live and on time. Greetings. It's Saturday night here, and we're gonna talk about some comics. I actually have the X-Men 97 tie-in comic if we end up wanting to go over there and take a look at that. So, yes. How is everybody? How is everybody doing tonight? What's going on with all the people? What are you reading? Are you even watching X-Men 97? All kinds of things. Let me know. I want to hear from you. And of course, I didn't even ask it. The first question, can you hear me? That is the very first question. So I need to know. I think you can. I checked the mic volume. I feel very confident going into it that I can be heard. So yes, I have a bunch of things beside me that I've been reading. It's been a week full of lots of reading, more than usual. I got to get through Tokyo Ghost. I picked up Tokyo Ghost. There was a deluxe edition, so of course I went to get some used copies of the volumes because used book life. These were very good condition. There's only like some tiny nicks. I think they were just left on a bookshelf and nobody picked them up. The deluxe edition looked very nice and hardcover, but these were $5 each. So and worth it. It was very worth it. These were a very interesting read. I also managed to get through the first volume of PTSD Radio and then delve into the backstory of how the author potentially maybe felt a little haunted by it. And I can see why. Going through this, I was like, yeah, cursed. I too would feel cursed. But I went and I read some of the accounts of what had happened, and it was, I might have taken a break from writing it too. I mean, a break. It's been years at this point. But if you were writing something and weird things started happening that were coinciding with what you were writing, would you keep writing? That is the question. I don't think I would. I don't think it's worth it. Oh, you can see one of the toys in the background. I did not remove it. Oh my goodness, is this Apocalypse? Greetings, fellow mutants. It's been a lot of fun talking about X-Men 97. I'm just very much enjoying discussing it. I don't do impromptu videos like that very often, but I've been very much having fun with it. And the in-depth videos are taking a bit more time, but they are also fun. I very much had to cliff notes some of these stuff for episode 2 because it was ballooning. And it was like, we need to condense. We need to, we need to not do the entire history of Rogue and Magneto because that can just be its own video. We could spend half an hour just talking about Joseph if we wanted to. Yes, there was so much there, but it was interesting. And a funny thing happened while I was researching and gathering imagery. I had a picture of Magneto kissing Rogue up on the screen, and my daughter came in and she's like, I know why she's kissing him. It's to steal his powers, right? She could fathom nothing else. Hi. Yes, we have a cat here today. He's in the room. He'll be loud, most likely. So it's been fun. It's especially been fun because it's made my kids interested in the original X-Men. So we've been going through that as well. Although I disappointed my daughter by not having many physical copies of comics with Jubilee in it. So I just failed. She didn't want the 1970s Claremont stuff. She wanted Jubilee because her powers are sparkly. Is that what you have to say? You have lots of thoughts and opinions as well. Yeah, you do. I know. It's funny. I have a cat in the thumbnail for this. It's not Alvin, though. It's Theo, but he left. He doesn't want to be on camera, but Alvin always does. He always does. And hopefully he doesn't pull out any wires like my microphone, like he's pulling at right now. Hopefully he settles back down, or he may have to go. I know. Hey. So I figure, yeah, I know he is loud. Ooh, Jordan, does she know Jubilee is a vampire in the comics now? No, no, she does not. She'd probably like that though, if she knew that. Oh, is today Batman Day? What kind of comic book channel am I? Oh, people are saying she's not a vampire anymore. You see, there's so much lore to catch up on. Maybe we can blow through that in an entire episode. That's not meant to be shady. I do think that they condensed what happened well for if you had the assignment of your mission, should you choose to accept it, is you need to do this entire storyline in one episode. I think they did a good job of that. But at the same time, it was very fast. It was interesting. Some people were making some people were having a discussion, some people were arguing about whether or not it was people being too used to decompressed storytelling, which is why they found it fast. I don't think that's it. Even if you're used to things being stretched out in many cases longer than they should have been, it's I think it was still pretty fast. I see something from NA55, but it's not showing up on my StreamYard. It's doing that thing where it's not sending everything over. Thank you very much for the super chat, even though I can't see it over on StreamYard. And I will answer. Your question was Catchman97, since you're in a 90s mood, retro. You know I still need to reread all of that Danny Ketch, especially now that I'm rereading so much X-Men. Harry Gish, thank you very much. What is one storyline X-Men 97 should adapt? Oh, so what's something that what would I like to see? I'm trying to think now because they've been blowing through what we have so fast that I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe we should save it. Just save a little bit, save a few things. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think what we haven't done yet because the original one covered a lot of stuff. When you look back at it, I'm like, yeah, Phalanx, we did it. Asteroid M, we did it. I guess we could come a bit closer in time. Maybe we could get some Grant Morrison X-Men stuff if we're feeling in that kind of mood. Matthew Prower, thank you very much. Chances of looking at, say, Shade the Changing Man in due time? Oh, there's always a chance of that. Those are interesting. Those are interesting comics for sure. Oh, Memento Mortem is saying Onslaught. And I feel that there might be some hints at Onslaught already, although I may be reading way too much into things. I might be looking for what I want to see and not what's actually there. Someone says M. What, like House of M? Just like Brian, thank you very much. It's appreciated. Trying to think what else we can do. I have the 97 comic. I have it all shared screen. We can go through the Kindle experience, which is always a bit of, a bit rough, but it's fine. What I will say is obviously spoilers. So if you don't want to see anything about it or you want to look into it yourself, then maybe dip out because I'll be showing a lot of panels from it. But people have asked already, is this something that you need? And it is seemingly answering some things. Like, it is leading into this series, and so probably answers to some questions will be inside of it. For example, they show Storm getting her new look in issue 1. There's a whole panel dedicated to it and everything, and it's one of those things where if you're a bit of a completionist, and one of the things I've said in the videos is some questions, it would be nice if they're answered. They might happen here. So we'll see. They're definitely building up the Executioner's backstory in this intro. So it's a good thing that I hadn't filmed the second episode in-depth one yet, so I can slip in a sentence about, and there's more backstory. Maybe he is the person that he is in the comics, but just with different personality a little bit. We'll see where that's going. Jaraz, thank you very much. American Flag is a great 80s series with a talking cat named Raoul. Do you want to be a talking cat, Alvin? Do you want to play Raoul? You're certainly loud enough. My goodness. Sometimes Alvin says things that are very, very close to words. Like hello. He says hello sometimes. That's freaky at night. Rachel, thank you very much. I've been reading Resurrection of Magneto, even though I fell off the comics a bit. I just really appreciate the dynamic Storm and Magneto have. Yeah, and it was really cool to see their powers bounce off of each other in the show as well. It's just they have such cool energy. That's the thing about all of it. It's just like a lot of it's cool, and it's made me go through and start to reread a bunch of the X-Men that I have and realize that there are some gaps in my collection, but that's largely because of how they've collected some of the omnis, particularly when you get into the later years and you run into some of them are essential, some of them are epics, and the way that DC collects its things in omni form is definitely less frustrating than Marvel is. Therese, thank you very much. How do you think Life Death will be an adaptation? Quick, one episode. We're going to blow through it. Next episode, she's going to get over everything in Texas. I don't know, but they really did a good job of showcasing how devastating it was for her. And I love that scene where she's startled by the storm outside because she can no longer sense or control it. So I'm hopeful that we'll get some emotional beats. Life Death is a very intense story, and Storm hits some real lows, and then she really comes back up. And that relationship between her and Forge, I also really enjoy that. So we'll see how that goes. Forge showed up in episode 3, and some people were saying they want his shorts. They're like, where are his shorts? I'm like, yeah, Forge did have some pretty great shorts. Oh. Yeah, but I'm trying to think. Oh my goodness. Are you trying to leave? Hold on, Alvin's trying to leave. He doesn't want to be with us anymore. There you go. We've lost his interest. We weren't saying interesting enough things. His opinion has been heard. So I saw before I came in that a lot of you were chatting about other shows that you want to get revivals, other things that you want to continue. I think of all the suggestions I saw, Spider-Man 99 was just because that left on such a cliffhanger that even if it was just 1 or 2 episodes just to wrap that up, that would have been fun. What am I reading right now? Says Jarrell Mason. Well, I showed it earlier, but I just finished Tokyo Ghost. It's very cyberpunk satire. Wasn't something I thought I would find myself reading this week, but I very much enjoyed it. It's very extra. It's a lot of a lot. It's definitely something that if I cover it, we're going to have a lot of censorship bars over a lot of things. But there were lots of aspects of it that were interesting. It borrows some things from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and Neuromancer, but then it also does a lot of its own things as well. There's some Ghost in the Shell in there too. But some of the ways that it handles online culture, there's an authenticity to it. Even the dialogue when it goes so far into being hip that it becomes its own thing and comes back from being cringe and becomes authentic again. And I laughed out loud several times. It's just one of those things where the way that this book is described doesn't fully encompass what is happening inside of it because it's a lot. Lots of people cliff notes it as the world is addicted to technology and these 2 cops need to go to Japan, which has no tech. And it's like, that's really, it's because you need to frame it in something, but a lot of it is a really biting satire of online culture. And it does fall a little bit into that technology's bad, but a lot of the things are interesting. It misses an opportunity, though, to acknowledge that some people would adapt to technology in potentially positive ways, but it's going for dystopian, so it makes sense. It was interesting. It was a lot of a lot. I hear that they are adapting it, and that gives me great pause, for I can see that going very awry very quickly. White Raven, thank you very much. I want a season based around the X-Men's fights with other teams. AVX, IVX, AXE, Black Vortex, X versus Guardians, and Fantastic Four versus X-Men. Messy. You just want mess. All of the mess. It would be interesting to see some of those teams introduced just so they could fight them. It's like, they're here. Who's who they are. Now let them fight. Stephen Turner, thank you very much. They should bring in Emma Frost to X-Men for season 2, so it can be X-Men Love Triangle, Magneto, Rogue, Gambit, Jean Scott, Logan, Jean Scott, Emma. All the triangles. One of the things you see in the lead up is just how aggressively not over it Logan is. Not that they hide that in the show. He's not over it. Every opportunity, it's let me show you how much I love you. Do you not remember anything? Remember your love for me. Some people are like, that was mega creepy. How do you feel about that? MoseTube, thank you very much. Jean fighting in her astral form from bed was such an homage to Vampire Hunter D. I like that scene a lot. Both, but also I don't know. I kind of like that she was in her hospital robe and stuff. I'd like it better than the costume that she actually fought her in. I was never a fan of the red and orange Jean costume, but Jean's had some awkward costumes over the years. Alice, thank you very much. What are your thoughts on Morrison's new X-Men run? You mentioned that you weren't in love with the comics. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Oh yeah, I've talked about this before. They are not my favorite. They are not my favorite era. I have the omnibus. I will never get rid of it because despite not being over fond of it, I have reread it because it's significant. It's very significant for the X-Men and some of the changes that it rights we still live in the wake of, such as the secondary mutations, the changes to the relationships with Emma, Cassandra Nova. There are so many things. Sorry, I just thought about Zorn Magneto, but they retconned that so hard. But just in general, it's not a series that I enjoy, and I don't like the direction that it takes a lot of things. And I still feel that way. And part of why I reread it is because part of that was also the environment I was reading it in, which was very much an environment where if you questioned it, you were just a fool who couldn't understand the brilliance. But no, reading it years later, I'm like, no, I still feel the same way. I still feel the same way. And although I would say it's certainly not the worst run of the X-Men at all, and there are some interesting things, but just overall, not my favorite. It's not to say there's nothing to pull from it. They could probably pull some interesting stories from it. I ended up referencing it in the second episode. Mutant Liberation Begins Now. I keep wanting to call it Trial of Magneto because that's basically what it's adapting. But because I need to talk about Magneto's helmet and how that got pulled in and the history of it, which is not what everybody thinks it is. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. I know I'm plugging that video a lot, but I'm really happy with it because I had fun researching it. Aaron Davis, thank you very much. It's appreciated. So should we look at it? Should we look at some 97? Should I share my screen? And let's see. Why not? I need to pull it up over here though. Do. Oh yes, the Kindle experience. Somebody's saying they're hesitant to check out the Morrison run. Oh, always check out something for yourself because you don't know. You don't know. People might tell you it's awful or it's great, and you're just going to feel how you're going to feel. So let's see. All right. So we'll take a look at it a little bit. Let's do it. And get sued. There's no getting sued. I bought this. I bought this. That's how we're looking at it on Kindle. We have our cover. It's obviously approximating. So it's interesting because we're having the 97 series, which is doing a modern approximation of the 92 series. Then we have the comic that is copying that style as well, although it's also close to the 92 comic tie-in series. So yes. So this, as you can see, it's written by Steve Fox. We have art by Salva Espin, colors Matt Milla. So Matt Milla, there we go. And okay, so I've skimmed this. I haven't given it a great in-depth reading as of yet, but I can actually cliff notes it for you fairly quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back and forth and get to some salient pages so that we can look at those. So I'm not showing you the whole thing, and so that we're transformative, and all of those good things. So what we have here is an opening that is very similar to X-Men openings we've had before. It's actually a bit similar to the opening to Captive Hearts, which I just rewatched today. But it's that they are practicing in the danger room. And apparently Magneto is just the go-to for the danger room because they did that in the first episode as well. So it's just, if you want to practice, apparently you practice against Magneto. And does that change now that he's there? Do they still do it? Does he sneak in while they're doing it and replace the computer version? That would be fun. That would be fun to see. So as you can see here, Storm hasn't changed her hair yet because she's going to do that in this issue. Yes, indeed. Matt Krenz, thank you very much. I'd love to see some nice X Factor get adapted just to see the speech Pietro gives about what it's like living with super speed. That's true. There are so many X books to pull from that sometimes I honestly forget. I'm like, oh right, we could be an X Factor or Excalibur or New X-Men or many of the other things. Aaron Davis, thank you very much. So glad I stumbled upon your channel. Thank you. Oh, we're glad to have you here. I'm glad you managed to find us and join the madness, the chaos. We talk about all kinds of random things here. It's actually been strangely focused as of late. Carlos, thank you very much. What are your hopes for the new Deadpool comics that are coming out? Also, Golden Age Namor seems fun. Golden Age Namor is a trip. Golden Age Namor is an experience. And as for hopes for new Deadpool comics, more of a plot outside of meta fourth wall breaks. Deadpool is actually one of the first characters that I collected consistently. One of the first people who I went and I sought out runs across eras. That was Deadpool. I have most of Deadpool, which is very funny because I don't think I've ever discussed Deadpool on this channel. But sometimes when Deadpool is struggling, it can be because plots for Deadpool get lost behind trying to make Deadpool funny. So that's all I'm hoping for, that we can balance the funny with a plot. I can hear my cats running around. They found each other. Okay, so now we can get to the crux of what we're going on over here. So, a lot of the beats in this comic are the same as what you will see in the first episode. For example, we see that Scott and Logan, they still have beef. Lots of beef. Where's the beef? It's right here. It's on panel over there. So the Friends of Humanity have kidnapped Dazzler. And Jubilee's super bummed out about it because she had to stand in line for tickets for hours to see Dazzler. And I always forget that this is how Dazzler looks in this series. I'm always waiting for Disco Dazzler, and then I'm surprised. So that means they gotta go save Dazzler. Now, this issue is 33 pages, so it's a mite longer than your average. I'm going to skim over the part about Gambit and Rogue shopping at the mall. They're shopping. She's looking for clothes. He's trying to buy her a really skimpy outfit. It's literally just a shirt and a belt, which she could never wear. What if somebody tripped and touched her? Why is he even suggesting that? No, we can't do that. Bad idea, Gambit. Thank you very much, Hand of Omega. It's appreciated. We can't do that. Oh, poor Beast. It's hard to be Beast. I'm sorry. I was just thinking about like she could buy that outfit for Magneto, and then I was like, people will get mad at me. People will get upset. We don't support that, apparently. Okay, so Operation Save Dazzler. They go and they save Dazzler. We get some action panels. So we're actioning, we're powering, we're saving, dazzlering. But the important part about this that we're supposed to be paying attention to is that Valerie Cooper shows up. And so this is supposed to be them really meeting each other and all of that good jazz. They're also in that one panel is because you see the scars across the face, which we saw on our FOH, who's going to be executioner, that we're setting up backstory things. So that's probably going to continue because this is 4 issues. So what you can do is you can get it issue by issue, or you can pre-order the trade, which I think is the better bet if you're the type of person who likes tie-ins and you want to have it collected, you're going to try and get everything all together. Then unless you like floppies, you know me and my floppy bias is because they get torn and damaged so easily. Did you see the Claremont X-Men docu on YouTube? No, I have not, but I will have to. I have a huge watch later interview thing. There's a channel that transcribes like old interviews with people like Irv Novick and stuff, and that's really cool. And I watch those a lot. That's sometimes how I learn to say people's names. That's how I learned to say Robert Kanigher's name, which I was mispronouncing forever. And then the funniest thing was I went to my husband. I was like, look at this name. How would you say it? And he said it right the first time. And I was like, oh, why don't I get you to read names to me first? Sebastian Howard, are you watching Invincible? Yes, but I'm behind. I have not caught up since hiatus. Things go on hiatus and then I get busy. I can't do the hiatus. They need to keep coming out entirely in order. But I enjoy Invincible in general. I think one of the things that the adaptation does very well is it tightens a lot of things, because Invincible is a comic that I love very much. It's back there, but it meanders a lot. Okay, so over in X-Men 97, Jean is pregnant, as we know, and she can't tell Scott. She hasn't found time to tell Scott. Drama. How can Scott not see what's in front of his face, what she's trying to tell him, and all of those things? And then Storm, just in between panels, changes her look just because she can. So do you like a Jubilee? It's like totally punk rock because you got this outfit in the 80s, but we're adapting this for 97. But Storm, okay, so the rationale that Storm gives here is because a new millennium approaches. And that's why, because if new millennium needs 80s hair, and I love her mohawk, so I'm not complaining, but it's just the rationale is just kind of suspect. You can just want a mohawk. Sometimes you just need a mohawk in your life. What better way to embrace that than with a new look as well? Y2K. So we get here on the other page that they were trying to fix Bishop's time ban, so it's a bit less abrupt than how it ended up being fixed. And yes, Jubilee's response was better than Kitty's. Kitty ran away crying. It was too much mohawk for Kitty Pryde to handle. Oh yeah, I saw that. I wanted to catch this because there was a Spiral appearance, and some people thought from the first episode that Spiral was going to show up. So in a way, Spiral. Kinscolt, thank you very much. Any chance for a Spider Boy or Power Pack video? Which Spider Boy? Do you mean Spider Boy right now or Fusion Spider Boy? Either way, anything is possible. I'm actually really I've fallen back into the Marvel side with this. It's just been fun. On another note, will you co-sign a lease of my car? Who do I look like? Carol Ferris? Thank you very much, Matthew. Why would Hal Jordan do this? That was a Hal Jordan reference. Michael Brown, thank you very much. Your goblin looks slay in that last video, 100%. Thank you. It was fun. I was inspired by my friend Amanda, who did a full Goblin Queen cosplay because she just has that because she does cosplay stuff. I was like, I want to look at least dark and gothy for the transformation, the dark Sailor Moon transformation. It's fun. In high school, I was big into the gothic type look, so I still have some of those things, and the black lipstick and the remembrance of eyeshadow that was too much. D. Lawrence, thank you very much. Mary Marvel and Cap need their original costumes, and Mary needs her own series. Mary had a series. Mary had a series recently. It was Okay. It was all right. John, thank you very much. A favorite DC animated movie is there are two: Mask of the Phantasm, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Those are my two faves without having to think about. There are others that I really like, but those two, they're like, you can never watch any other DC animated movies again. Then I would also put out Return of the Joker and keep Mask of the Phantasm. Mask of the Phantasm is just an awesome movie. It's so good. So over in X-Men 97, we have more Storm and Jean bonding. She's pregnant. They're close. Again, a lot of it is retreads because you do get all of this if you watch the first episode. So this comic isn't bad or anything, but it's just if you read this, then watch, you're gonna get some retread. We have some super intense Logan and Scott B. A lot. I just need to show it to you. Just because it's so much. Ah, to the spine. To the spine right there. Let's go. I don't know why I'm so mesmerized by this panel, but I really am. There's something I really like about it. Lord Coyote 2000, thank you very much. Could you do a video on Lectron or the Shiver Man? I don't know. I don't know. Everybody always asks me. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. There's so many things I thought I was going to talk about. I had a whole thing for like how many times Batman used guns in the Golden Age, not because of Zack Snyder. And that's the funny thing. It's that he came out with those comments and then people were like, oh, in response to Zack. I'm like, no, I was already working on this. Life's weird. We live in a simulation or something. D. Lawrence, thank you very much. Mary had that champion mini in Amazon's Attack. I mean, she needs an ongoing. Oh, you want more than just the mini. This is not the era for that. A lot of things are minis, and then if they do well, they end up going to ongoing. I do prefer just like the ongoing as well. Carlos, thank you very much. I feel the same about Deadpool. Him and Batman got me into the comic shop. I was so surprised to see how much deeper Deadpool was than I'd heard about. Yeah, I really like the classic Deadpool. I have all of those too, like the Joe Kelly stuff. There's so much to Deadpool's character that isn't mined anymore, and that always makes me a little sad. There's a sadness to Deadpool and there's a lot of other things there, and sometimes they pull to the front and they really play with it because you can have both. It's a balancing act between those things. Also, I see that your DP is Cable and Deadpool, and that is one of my favorite runs of all time. I love Cable and Deadpool so much. Hold on, I'm going over here to see where we are. Hold on. I have a question. I just need to pull it up because I need to grab the answer from over here. Searching. I have two screens. My second screen is so aggressively far away at this point that it's kind of intense. I'm searching. There we go. Okay. This is to answer Jesse Six's question, and thank you very much for the super chat. It's can you let us know what channel transcribes interviews? The one I'm thinking about right now is comic book historians. I just need to make sure. I'm like, because lots of comic channels have like the same name. I'm like, am I sending you somewhere else? No, it's comic book historians. That is who I'm thinking about right now. Yes. I have the right person. So over in X-Men 97, we have the concert. So we got the concert. We're making some noise for Dazzler. And then we see over here, it's some of Sinister's. Also, I just looked at Bishop's face and he's just not enjoying himself at all. I wonder what this music sounds like to Bishop because he's so far into the past. So they got to fight. We got to fight the Sinister people, which I think this was my favorite part of the issue because it was just something different, and it brought the evil mutants more into it. And that's one of the things that I like about X-Men in general, is that you have all of the different the different factions that are up against the X-Men. And it's not just a humans versus mutant thing. It's like there's so many other levels of what's going on here. Poor Dazzler. She can't have a regular concert without being attacked. SC1 Nona, thank you very much. Are we ever going to have a live action Nightwing? They're doing well, I mean, you mean alone or or with other people? Because we have that Titan series, and they're planning to do, from what I heard, another Teen Titans live action thing. So we'll have a more Dick Grayson. I mean, it's like solo Nightwing, like beyond that fan film that they did. Cause maybe. Maybe. Is Taylor Swift gonna show up as Dazzler? They wish. If they could finagle that, oh my goodness. You know how many people would show up for that. Yes, it's the Nasty Boys. Thank you. The name was eluding me. It's not even that late. I'm like, what? Okay. So Jean tells Scott that she's pregnant. Logan lurks outside, sadly, like a creep. Just, it's not Logan's time at all in X-Men 97. It's still not. Who else thought for a moment? Okay, before episode 3 came out, and I thought they might give it more than one episode. Who else thought for a moment, are they going to do a thing where like each one of them gets a gene? I thought we might go that way. I was like, that would be a lot. I'm probably going down weird avenues. And I was. So, but did anybody else think that? Okay. So what we have here, the Nasty Boys go back to Sinister. He is not impressed in the slightest. Boo, poor performance. He says he blames himself for tolerating them for so long. It's so hard to get good help these days. Other villain tropes. Carlos, thank you very much. Joe Kelly's Deadpool run is my favorite run ever. I think it's really solid. I really do enjoy that era a lot. That's another Omni that I have, one of my other early Omnis. Alice, thank you very much. Will you ever do a tour of your studio? I'm a huge fan of your unboxing videos, and I just love hearing you talk about comics casually. Whenever I show my shelves, not everybody appreciates the lack of organization that is occurring on them. They are organized with very little rhyme or reason. Sometimes things sit together, sometimes they don't. But for me, that's exciting because it's almost, like life's like a box of chocolates, or like life's like an unorganized library. You don't know what you're going to get. It's exciting because I flip through it and I see different things each time. But for other people, it's genuinely bothersome. Maybe, potentially, there are some things that aren't out yet that are still that are still boxed, and that's been going on for years. So, like, maybe if I get everything out, it would be fun. It would be fun to even stream something like that. Be a proper streamer. Get like 2 cameras set up, the clicker, switch between them, and then we can just chill and unbox, like people who do those the bag and board streams, which I would do if I had more floppies, but I don't. I do have some that could probably be bagged and boarded, but I kind of like that they're free and I can just pick them up and flip through them when I feel like it. Memento Mortem says Prob sounds like junk rock to Bishop. Or are these like super golden oldies because he's in the past? And is that what it sounds like to him? Ozzy Dragoon, thank you very much. When the second gene showed up, I imagine Wolverine's face in the moist critical clip. So many thoughts and feelings went through his mind at that point. Okay, so Sinister, what we see here from Sinister is that he wants to undermine the public's love and trust in the X-Men. He's trying to make them look bad. That's his goal. That's what we're working with Sinister. And so maybe we'll have more of that aside from the Nate Gray. I'm looking for the specific issue right now because I remember this vividly. And I want to make sure this isn't just something that I'm remembering that didn't happen, but Nathan is named for him, if I'm recalling correctly, because I remember being absolutely devastated by that. I'm like, am I devastating myself for no reason? I'm like, no, that was a thing. That was a thing that like Nathan's named after like Nathaniel S. I'm not crazy, right? Am I? I don't know. Is this my fanfic that I'm writing in my head? I swear that this is a thing. So what we see here is Sinister says he's gonna go and get some new help. And actually, one of these guys here, I think it's a Speedball. So I'm kind of excited for that. So let's this is the squad. This is the make the X-Men look bad squad that we see over here on his monitor. And we're going to get to see the fangs of Sabretooth, some Sabretooth fighting Wolverine, which I'm always down for. But we watched the first episode of that, and my daughter got really annoyed. She was like, why are they fighting all the time? And she went, rah, 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 rah. So I don't think she was sold on their rivalry at all. It's very fun to see it through a child's eyes. I'm seeing what all of you are saying. Oh, and yeah, that's it. Do done. So that is the first tie-in issue. There were more pages. I did not show you all the pages. There were pages in between where more pages where things happened. But that is the crux of what went on. So how do you think? How do you feel? Is that did that sell you? Where you're like, I need this. I want everything, all the details, because personally, I am like that. I love you see Invader Zim's back there, even though that's different because that's a full on continuation. And the creator said something really funny when he was talking to one of his friends about what happened with Zim, and then realized that he'd never actually written any of the stories down or anything. He was like, I should probably do that at some point. And so they ended up doing that, which I love. Just like, are these stories all still in my head? I should write them down. And it's just, is that Blaze? You see, I'm always getting mutants all mixed up. Apparently, I'm mixed up too in the newspaper, so I corrected that in the second video, because that's what we're all here for, to to be nuffs. And what do they call it? Like no prizes? To get no prizes together. The prize is self-satisfaction and knowing that we know the lore. That's what it is. Yeah, it is a bridge. KR Dev is saying they want to pick it up because they said it was a bridge between season 5 and 1. And it is a bridge. And I know some people say that they're very confused about the Professor X stuff. I don't think that they're implying that he's dead, because the X-Men said gone. So I don't think that, but we will see. So Sinister looks like Thrawn. Sinister is this is the slick Sinister look. I kind of like how rough he looked in the 90s animated series. That's the thing about hopping back and forth between the animation, is there are moments when I have a preference for both. Like sometimes I like the 90s one a bit more, and sometimes I like the new one a bit more. It really depends. What about you? How are all of you feeling about the animation style and what's going on with that? Because sometimes I like that the bulk and the blockiness of the 90s, and when they have the budget for it, the fight scenes are very, very cool. Earl Smith, thank you very much for the super sticker. It is appreciated. Have you seen Madam Web? I have not. I have not heard any good things to entice me to want to go and see it and spend that time. That's the thing. Like, there's so little time in life. I could be reading Tokyo Ghost or things like that. I'm texting at the same time. Madam Web is okay. I just honestly, it's one of those things that I didn't really have interest in from the beginning. So I'm like, maybe at some point for the memes, for the lulz, I don't know. We'll see. It's if you've been here a while, you know I have a love-hate thing with adaptation, which is that I very much enjoy adaptations and I enjoy looking at them and comparing between them and seeing what changes are made for the medium. And that's part of what makes the 90s X-Men so interesting because it makes so many changes, but does so in such a way that it creates its own cohesive thing. And so I find that interesting, but I also don't like with adaptations when sometimes it feels like they're meant to be the be all end all, like, oh, this is getting adapted. That means it's legitimate. I just don't view it that way because I view the original source as its own thing. It's not a the books are always better type thing. It's just that they're different mediums and they should be treated and respected thusly. And one is not inherently superior to the other kind of thing. And when I was looking at Madam Web, and I was just like, I don't know. It just didn't grab me personally. I'm catching up with what all of you are saying. I did not think we would get through X-Men 97 that fast. I thought I was just because I was skimming it. But no, that's a mighty fast read. Not too dense. Not too dense at all. Whereas this took some time because there were lots of little details. That's one of the things I enjoyed about it. The art in particular. And is anybody naked on this page? No, they're not. Okay, so Sean Gordon Murphy got to draw a lot of cars, which he loves. So if you like cars, then get ready for there to be a lot of cars in this. But some of the most interesting parts were just the way online culture was depicted. I'm really trying to find a page where people aren't naked. I can do it. It can be done. Not that page. Wow. That's just everybody. One of the things that's interesting about this too is how it conveys the concept of technological addiction, which is something I find fascinating because it's 100% a real thing and you're starting to see more research and people diving into it and exploring it because it really does happen. And so that's interesting. The only thing I don't enjoy is that it makes it analogous to a physical addiction. Not to say there can't be physical withdrawal symptoms, but it really makes it just like you're doing any other kind of drug. And I think that lessens it a tiny bit. But then how would you convey it? That's the thing. Because you need to find a way to convey it in a way that people understand. It might be more difficult to convey just distracted, disjointed change in thinking or apathy. That might be harder than the more could you show maybe the compulsive tics? Because you've seen people if they do detoxes of tech where they have the compulsive like tics and the like where they start trying to check their phone and stuff. SC1 Nona, thank you very much. Magneto looks like an adult movie star to me in general, or in this show. Was it the scene where Jean's cut or Madeline cut like his costume all off, and they're like, he's here, and oh no, he's hurt, and his costume's coming off in all the right places. I laughed when he fell to the ground like that. It's just amusing me because to me, it's just like somebody else also had a crush on Magneto apparently, and it's coming through in this show. I don't know. For me, when I was a kid, the show and the comics, Magneto never registered as old to me. It was just like, oh, he has gray hair. And yeah, I've said it before. I had a problematic crush on Magneto. It's fine. It's not fine, but it is what it is. Steve Turner, thank you very much. 90s shoe, still only proper. It's a nice show. Still only proper Dark Phoenix adaptation. You know what? I would agree. I think of all the Dark Phoenix adaptations we've had, that's arguably the most cohesive and closest to on theme. I have watched the X-Men anime, but it's been a while. It has been a while since I watched it, but I do remember liking it. But the thing is, I don't have many details in my head. I'm like, I know I watched it. I know I liked it, but I only saw it once when I was younger. So it's something that I definitely want to check out again for sure. Edward says it's not fine, but Magneto is. The one thing I wish is that they'd given him the same hairstyle that he had in Uncanny X-Men 200 and that era, which is where they're pulling from. It was just slightly shorter. I felt like it worked better with the cut of the costume, which he did not wear for very long because then he switched to that one with the cape and like the cape attachment chain. Same hair, but pink and purple get up with a cape and the attachment chain and like barred chest because that was just the era it was. But you gotta attach it with the chain. There was. Yes, there was an Iron Man anime. There was just wasn't there? Oh my god, Blade. Am I there? No, this was real. It was real. I swear. I swear this was a thing. I'm right, right? I'm not making it up. Rachel says the giant ass M takes me out. It's so big. I know. It's like he really needs people to know that he's Magneto. Say my name. It starts with an M. D. Lawrence, thank you very much. What is the best comic to film adaptation you've ever seen? Okay, so in this question, are we talking about it's directly adapting a storyline or just the best character taken over to a screen that we've seen? Just feel that it captures the essence of what was going on. I gotta think about that because I've got to separate. I knew there was a Blade anime. I knew it. I need to separate what I like or what is objectively a good film, but maybe not necessarily a good adaptation from what's just a solid adaptation because those are all separate things. Those can all be very, very different things. I have to agree with Zufall, actually. That's a very strong contender. That's a very strong contender. Sin City. Yeah, Sin City blew me away, just how they translated the art style and just the entire tone of that. Sin City was a pretty impressive adaptation, I would have to say. Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel changes a decent amount. And I don't know, I couldn't fully get into the CG in it, but I liked it. I liked Alita Battle Angel. It was fun. It was a fun watch. Oh, The Rocketeer. The Rocketeer is just fun. The Rocketeer is a good time. Someone saying the original Superman. I'm just going through all of the adaptations that I've seen and enjoyed. I'm trying to flit back through like the less obvious ones. We watched Blade recently, and I really enjoyed that. Oh, Raimi Spider-Man 1. Rainy Spider-Man 1 is definitely up there. Ooh, Alex Combs, that's a good one too. Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim does like some condensing, but I think it really definitely captures the vibe and tone. First Scott Pilgrim. We're talking about first Scott Pilgrim. The Crow. Oh, The Crow makes me sad. Dick Tracy. I haven't watched Dick Tracy in years. Need to watch Dick Tracy again. Steve Turner says V for Vendetta. Oh, I have one that's controversial. Oh, people won't like that. Yeah, someone said it in the chat. I'm just checking through what all of you are saying. You know, I haven't actually watched Deadly Class to see how that is. I haven't reread the series in a hot minute as well. I've been collecting a bunch of indies lately, just on sale. There was a sale at a thrift store, and so I was like, yes, and it just got me into the mood to thrift. I see someone saying Josie and the Pussycats. Josie and the Pussycats is a trip. It's fun. It's fun though. Good and fun are separate, although they can overlap. Let me see. There are some of these I haven't seen. So if you're watching this in the replay, like check out the side chat because there's a whole bunch of. It's surprising how many adaptations, you know. Oh my god, don't talk about Nightman. Nightman, his saxophone. Nightman, his saxophone was a good time. I don't know. It's interesting, and I think sometimes it can vary for different people depending upon the take they may have on a particular character. Oh my gosh, Darkman. I love Darkman. I remember watching Darkman with my dad, along with lots of other movies I definitely saw way too young, like RoboCop 2. Yeah, someone saying Nightman so bad but so good. You can watch all Nightman on YouTube. If you need something to do with your time, it's all right there for you. No one's standing up for Nightman, sadly. Samuel Summers, thank you very much for the super sticker. It's very appreciated. All right, so so I'll throw it out there. We've got this X-Men 97 adaptation continuation type thing, and it is working. And so I want to bring it back to the discussion that people were having before. Is there something that you feel ended too soon or ended on a cliffhanger that you would want to see come back? And do you think it would work? Do you think it could be pulled off? Do you think that it could work? I'm very, very curious. All of you are just which Teen Titans? Someone saying Teen Titans. Do you mean the 2003 one? The one people are still salty that we got Teen Titans Go? Every time I bring it up, people are like, no, the worst Robin is Teen Titans Go Robin. I couldn't believe when I did that video on Larry that I missed a couple of game Larry mentions. And then I had someone's like, remember the GameCube? I was like, oh my God, the GameCube. It was like unlocking a hidden part of my memory. Let me see. Oh my goodness. Oh, Thundercats. Thundercats 2011. Yeah, that was an interesting one. I don't have any attachment to original Thundercats, but I like Thundercats 2011. Ah, this this would be a good series to take a look at. Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It doesn't okay, people who know, but outside of that, it doesn't get a lot of praise, and it has some of the strongest storyline adaptations that I've seen of Avengers stories, but it just kinda fell under the radar. That happens with Marvel animation a lot, though. Sometimes when it's hitting, it just kind of I don't know if it's a promotion issue or what, but it just doesn't always get the word out there like it should. And it's a shame sometimes because then sometimes just things just fall off, because of it or don't have, budget or viewership or anything to continue. Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments about, X-Men Evolution. There are some people who are really willing to die on the X-Men Evolution hill. It's fascinating because X-Men Evolution is one of those series like the follow-up, The Batman, that lives in the shadow of the '90s series, not as, aggressively as the Batman does in '92 original Batman TAS, but there is still some of that. And it's interesting because there are some things that X-Men Evolution does that alter X-Men. For example, Laura Kinney. Like we have her, she's created for X-Men Evolution. The rationale always amuses me. It's because they felt that Wolverine was too old for people to relate to. It's like we need Wolverine, but like young and for girls. And so they did that. And now we have Laura Kinney. So Balls Monkey, thank you very much. EMH gave us the best versions of Hank and Jean. Jean, she got Jean on the brain. Jan, the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne. I'm sorry, Janet. It honestly, it did. Hank and Jan, the comics are a mess. Even before like the panel or anything, it's a hot mess. The infamous Mike Manhattan. No, I did not. I don't have my YouTube thing over on the side as well. Normally I have like the double screen up. It's because I still had X-Men 97 up. I was still looking at the Nasty Boys. I was trying to see if there was anything anything that I missed that was worth highlighting. But I don't think there was. I think we covered for the most part the essence of that comic. I would say it's okay. Like again, it's like it's entirely like it's fine. It's 100% fine. If you want to have all the info for the series, I'd say it's worth picking up. It has a couple of cute moments. There are some retreads, but on the whole, it's not lighting the world on fire, but it's okay. Okay doesn't always have to be bad. Ozzy Dragoon, thank you very much. Avengers EMH was well received at the time, but they scrapped it for a show closer to the feel of the MCU and one with less continuous storylines. I remember that. I do remember that. And it just completely, it didn't work. The MCU has some things to answer for. It's when that was the moment for me. Like, I don't like when things bend over backwards to change what's working to try and match the adaptation. That's always really frustrating. It's like things are fine, but at the same time, the MCU, and again, but at the same time, you can understand the logic behind that decision. It's the same logic of the bat embargo. We need to give the bigger thing precedence. We can't confuse people. People will be confused, and lots of times people look down at that. They're like, "How dare they?" They're assuming that people are going to be confused. You'd be amazed how confused people can get very, very quickly. And just even seeing it as a am I going to call myself a content creator? I think I am. But it's you see it sometimes regularly, and every time I do a video, I say, what issue it is and all of those things. I regularly get, what issue is that? What year is that? What team is that? Like, confusion. It's real. So even though I don't agree with things like the bat embargo or altering things to match, I understand where the logic is coming from. I just don't like it. Tyler Preston, thank you very much. Video idea covering the Generation X pilot. Pilot. One? Okay. It's not X related. A pilot I was going to do, but then didn't end up doing, was the Aquaman pilot. The Aquaman pilot from the Smallville days. Oh, what a time that was. You can watch it pretty easily. It's on Prime, or it was on Prime last I checked. It's an experience. It really is. Oh, CW, like, okay, WB transitioning to CW's Aquaman was a time. So many of like canceled pilots I love so much. Like the Wonder Woman series, that wasn't even a pilot. That didn't happen. The one that still has the notes for the visual effects teams in it. Pants to be darkened. We're gonna do that with effects. Yeah, that's the thing. It's because I felt like it was pretty accessible. So I should go with something that, even though my channel name is Casually Comics, I want to go with something more niche. Oh. And James Bunt says, you should have editor's notes for your videos. Oh my gosh. I wish I could. Does anybody remember when YouTube had the annotation feature where you could leave annotations or notes on your videos? And for the beginning, people used it for good. They didn't abuse it or all of those things. They put notes or things they missed, and then but there wasn't a limit, and it got out of control. And then they added the ability to toggle it on and off. And I remember toggling it on a video, and it was just ads. It was just links. The page was full, and so it went away. And I was so sad because I genuinely enjoyed it, because there were times when you would have something where like, oh, I wish I could have said that, or I wish I'd added that, and the notes were good, but they were used for evil. We weren't ready. We couldn't handle the power of the annotations, so they're gone. So it's very sad. It's very sad. I always try and if I miss anything, I always try and catch it in the final phase and add inserts when I can. Carlos, thank you very much. Spectacular Spider-Man needs a continuation badly. There's some people who, for them, that's like the only Spider-Man. They're like, this is the Spider-Man. I'm gonna pull up my other thing again. Hold on. I'm pulling up. There it is. Okay, I'm back to the double screenness. We're good. D. Lawrence, thank you very much. Okay, Aquaman star Justin Hartley presented Coach of the Year at NFL Honors with my friend, YouTuber and NFL fan of the year, Tom Grosey. Justin Hartley is everywhere. Just, it's so fascinating tracking the Justin Hartley sightings and career. I've got the two screens, so I'm distracted now. I'm like, whoa. I'm back to having all the tech like Oracle or the like, even though it's not that many screens. It's just two. I'm not ready to be Oracle. Oh. That's one thing I always check for in adaptations of that time period. I'm like, how do we have large cathode ray screens? If we have multiple screens and computers, do we have them all up and big? White Raven, thank you very much. Hot take. Marvel should only introduce MCU original characters, teams, relationships, and storylines rather than retcon everything to match the MCU. I would agree with that to a point, unless there are things that make more sense to bleed back, because that does happen. Sometimes an adaptation will introduce an idea that when you look at it from a comic standpoint makes a lot more sense. You're like, oh, actually, because sometimes having that fresh set of eyes or something that you need to change because of the medium to make it work for film or television or an animated series, whatever it is you're doing, can actually lead to positive changes. It can happen. So I wouldn't say it's a never, but it's just, it depends. It shouldn't be everything, in my opinion. Mirror Shades, thank you very much. Did you ever catch Mike Turner's Fathom? If so, thoughts? I have not read a lot of Fathom, but I had a friend who absolutely adored Fathom and would always show me Fathom art and the like, but I never really personally got into it too much. But I have a decent amount of stuff from around that era of that 90s era of things, Witchblade, Darkness, all of that. Memento Mortem, thank you very much. Rewatched at the Crypto Show. Noticed so many things I missed. Also presented the Canine Space Patrol animation for the first time from the comics. The Crypto Show is a good time. It's fun. And Crypto has some off-the-wall Silver Age adventures when we just had crypto stories. And they're a good time. The Super Pets got into some trouble. They got into a lot of trouble sometimes, but in an entertaining way that only the Silver Age can provide. It's been a hot minute since we've talked about the Silver Age. It's weird. And I'm like, I'm a fish out of water. I need to go back in time. My planet needs me. Dylan the Villain, thank you very much. Which hero do you wish was on Smallville who wasn't? Okay, so I have the Smallville continuation series, and if they weren't on the show itself, they made it into that tie-in comic. That tie-in comic just, did you miss Batman? Well, there he is, because they just put everything they could into there. So I don't know. I would argue that Smallville put more people than I needed into it, because we had all those things where it's like Superman can't fly yet, and we can't have the costume, we can't have certain things, we got to work around it. So it ended up leading to an interesting vibe by the end of it. If you were in the Smallville fandom, which I was, there was this huge schism that happened around halfway through, where it was very much like only the first half of Smallville is good and the second half's trash, and then the other half was like, no, it's the second half where it truly becomes Smallville. And then there were people like me who's just like, I enjoyed different areas of Smallville for different reasons. The Smallville forums, oh, they were a time. And watching Talkville now and getting so many behind the scenes about what was going on, it makes everything so much more entertaining. Aussie Dragoon, thank you very much. I want a spectacular continuation because from what I heard, Peter was going to end up with MJ without axing Gwen to get there. The debates could have ended. You know they wouldn't have ended. You know that wouldn't have ended them. It still would have gone on. There still would have been a no, wrong final girl type thing. That always happens. Who's best girl? It wouldn't have solved it. It wouldn't, the debate would still rage. Okay. I only have one liquid tonight. I feel like that's not enough, even though I never drink all of it on stream. What about the Wonder Twins? I've thought I just remembered that Wonder Twins movie that they were going to make, and then it got canceled with KJ Apa. I remember it viscerally because I made a comment when I did the Wonder Twins retrospective that like trust nothing, and then it didn't happen. I was like, that's right, trust nothing. Oh. People are arguing about like Smallville, like when was it better, when was it not better? I think that's one of the things I'm just enjoying about X-Men 97 is that in general, the fandom, it's just a fun fandom experience. Just in general, people are enjoying it. Like there's always corners, but that's always the way. But just the general overall vibe is fun. Because that's all you can like some fandoms have good overall vibe, some don't, you know? Stephen Turner, thank you very much. Are there any characters you want to see in live action who have never been done properly? I hope to see a great Ivy. Are you saying you're not here for Batman and Robin Ivy? Someone who you never think. Steel. I think that it would be cool to see I'm just thinking about movies I've seen where I didn't feel they nailed it. Steel. Let's give some love to a different Steel. No, Smallville's Booster Gold was okay. I was like, Booster Gold? Green Lantern. And not because I think that movie is necessarily the worst movie of all time, but just I think that we can do better. We can try again. Oh, I can answer this. Hand of Omega. It's just like I got excited because sometimes I get asked a question like this and I blank out in every comic that's ever existed. But what comic book had the immortal line? Oh, I thought you were asking what comic book line has haunted me. You have to get out of here. Your vagina is haunted. No, I thought you were. It's from that Jim Ballant one. I thought you were asking what line has haunted you, and I instantly thought of he rigged her womb to explode. He rigged her womb to collapse. From Nemesis, just a line that lives rent free in my brain and haunts me. It was that one. I thought we were doing lines that haunt us. I'm sorry. I got really excited about that because I wanted to see everybody's line that haunts them. I still laugh sometimes at your womb rigged six. Nemesis, the first Nemesis, is trying so hard to be edgy. I still don't know how I feel about it. It's been years. Yep, it is Tarot Witch. I remember that line would come up all the time on I think it was Linkara. I think it was a recurring joke. Some of you are catching up on the Green Lantern and what we should do for adaptations. Let's see. Oh, Kevin says, first time catching you live. Well, I'm glad you're here. We're trying to do lives more regularly. And now with like StreamYard, we have props, we have shared screens. So the tech, the future is now. It really is. Did you see that guy got a Neuralink? The future is here. Would you get a Neuralink? I don't think I would. I don't think I'd want to be that jacked in all the time. Like even if there was nothing else like wrong with it and it worked fine. Matthew Prower, thank you very much. Any chance looking back at 99's Flash series and Mark Hamill's Proto Jonkler, the Trickster? I like the 90s Flash series a lot. I really do. It's so interesting. And like they really tried hard. That show is genuinely trying. And I think it's solid and at times surprisingly dark. That was pretty good. That and then I was really happy when he got to be Golden Age Flash on CW's Flash and his dad and the homages to that. I always love when you see that kind of history honored, even for shows that people tend to look back at and just dismiss, even though I don't think it should be dismissed. The Flash tried. The Flash walked so that the CW Flash could run for a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Did the CW Flash ran for a bit and then it didn't? That show went on for too long. I know this is the thing that people say when shows last forever, but that really did. That really did. Let's see. Let me catch up with all of you on the side. Yeah, there's a lot of love for Powerless. I often see love for Powerless as an adaptation. Oh, I forgot that. I memory hold that. The Birds of Prey show from the 2000s. I had the theme for that on my it wasn't an iPod. It was a Zune. And I had the theme for that on it. I loved it. I didn't even watch the show at first, but I just had the theme cuz I went through this thing where remember when YouTube was really young and like the music playlists, they were eye-opening. I mean, I guess they still are, but they were just different when it first started. They hit different. Yeah, I had a Zune. Zune was where it was at. Oh, and then of course you would get songs off of the commercials for other listening devices, usually the iPod. I discovered so many songs like that. Mm. People are saying Zunes were the superior device. D. Lawrence asks, "What did you think of Lois and Clark with Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher and the Superboy series?" They had their moments. They had their moments. I've been on and off. Yeah, they did have a good live action suit. I've been on and off going through Superboy since I did that one Microboy episode. Sometimes I'll just put it on if I'm working on something, but not too often because I'll just end up watching it and it's supposed to be something that's just on the background, but I'll end up stopping to pay attention to Superboy because it fascinates me so much. It's really interesting, and I feel like it got really memory hold, just this entire era of Superman that happened. There's a whole bunch, and it just doesn't get talked about, there's a whole era of shows, really, that just kind of bloop. They're my favorite to talk about, of course. Oh, someone that do you have custom ringtones? I did. I don't anymore. Not anymore. Now just the plain regular ringtone all day, every day. I used to have Daft Punk ringtones and different ringtones for different people. No, everybody has the same ringtone now. Let's see. Hmm. So I should ask, since I said, "Oh, Alvin's back. Alvin's come back." He wants to come back in, but he'll be so loud. I can hear it in his voice. You might be able to hear him through the door. I don't know if you can. Sometimes that happens when I'm filming, and there are just these call and answer sessions where I just talk to him through the door. They never make it on camera. But what are we reading? What are we catching up on? What are we reading? There's a bunch of events and things coming up that are ongoing. What are we doing? How are we feeling? What are we enjoying? What's something that you want to take a look at? I Because the ultimate stuff is something that I'm reading. As always, World's Finest, Green Lantern, all these indie things that I bought, like down here underneath them all. I talked about it a bit last time, but when I was talking about it, I just started rereading it, and now I'm done, and it's Low. I finished Low, all 26 issues of Low. I proceeded to write a review of Low. We will see if it makes the light of day. I hope it does. I had a lot of interesting things to say about Low, but I'm not sure if anyone will care. But it was really interesting. It was really interesting. It was one of those things where I actually came up with like several bread tube style video essays, and I was like, I need to calm down. I need to calm it down on Low. Maybe I should just start with what it is before we go into like the exploration of hope in a desolate future or some other out there title. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Exiles. I was so tempted to start rereading Exiles. I was like, don't do it. You won't have time to finish it. If you start it, you're not going to finish. I'm gonna see. I want to see what you're reading. Oh, a lot of people are doing the Energon universe. I've heard good things. I need to check out Love Everlasting. I need to check that out. I think I'd like it. I know it's supposed to be a take on like classic romance comics. I have a lot of those. Somebody was very kind and they sent me a collection that they were going to get rid of, which was romance comics with the covers torn off because they were just returns from back in the day. And I loved them. They were so fascinating. I enjoy the mess that is classic romance comics. So that was a good time. That was a good time. I had fun. Let me see. Oh yeah, I see some people are going back and looking at like older Ultimate stuff to catch up or like see how they compare. Also, there's just always so many things to look at. There's so many comics and other things. I hadn't even heard of this like until maybe 3 weeks ago. And I'm all up in it. It kind of haunts me. It There's a dread here. And so I ended up when I was looking up The Haunting and what happened to Masaki Nakayama and all the horrific things that were going on. I of course stumbled into this isn't as scary as anything by Junji Ito, or like you're pathetic for thinking this is scary, but I don't know. So what this is, let me cliff notes it's this series of stories that at first seem like kind of unconnected, scary vignettes that are they revolve a lot around hair and needing to cut your hair and like weird hair demons and shadow demons. And as it goes on, you start to see that it's actually connected. The characters are connected to each other. And there's some kind of curse that's been placed upon them. And it's impacting their lives. And it's some kind of bizarre god that appears to be this god of hair, this one of those gods like a Cthulhu-esque type that doesn't care about you, and that if you ask for prayers or curses, whatever it is, it's going to give it to you. And the way that the faces are drawn in this, they freak me out. Like even now, like to show you, like to hold it up to the screen and show you, like they freak me out. I don't know if that's pathetic or whatever, but they genuinely do. With the way the faces and the horror objects in this, there's an energy to it that I'm like, am I cursed? You know? It's just it's a lot, but I really like it. And there was a chapter that it really scared me. Okay. So what it was as you're going through and you're seeing all the connections, you see that in World War II, this man was bringing back the remains of his friend, but he didn't have anything. And so he went to a barber shop and he just asked for hair off of the floor. And he was like, please, just so I have something to bring back to his family so that they can have something. So they sweep up the hair off the floor, they tie it, and they just say that it's from the guy. See, I hit it. I'm so excited. And They bring it back to his family, and his family goes and they bury it and they do this ritual to this god. And then someone comes later and performs a curse over it. And so then for generations just down, all these people are cursed and they don't even know it. And they're cursed with all this stuff. I don't like it. That freaks me out, man. I don't like it. Memento Mortem, thank you very much. Thoughts on the new Elseworlds lineup and reprints? Well, I'm always down for reprints because there are things that I'm missing. So yeah, mixed on what they're offering. There's a bit more Batman that I'd like, but that's always been the case. That's always been the case. There's some people asking for the name. This is a PTSD Radio. It's collected. This is the deluxe size. There are 3 of them because after volume 6, he stopped writing it. And in that issue is where he has what happened to them and the building that they worked in and the weird shrine they found and the shadowy figures and how he got sick. And it was a disease that mirrored what he was writing about. And then when he stopped writing about that illness, he got better. And it was like an actual illness, not like blood coming out of the mouth and sores and just weird stuff, man. Weird stuff. So, but I love it. I absolutely, and there's this other thing that's really, really creepy in it, which is each chapter has an image that starts it and it's like a slowly ascending face. And I dreaded it every single time that I turned the page to the new thing. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see this horrible transforming face, but I kept reading it. It has this opening sequence where this woman, and when she was a child, she had to cut her hair. And her grandma told you have to cut it like these specific years. And she's forgotten what years they are. And so she's on the train and she sees her reflection and it's bald. And it does the whole her reflection is different. But the face that her reflection makes at her as the train seat becomes possessed and starts to eat her hair off her head, it haunts me. It really haunts me. If you like creepy stuff, I can say that this. Ooh. I can it's one of those books, I got to keep it face down, jelly side down. Oh, who understands the jelly side down reference? I hope some of you do. Carlos, thank you very much. I've been catching up with Batman. It's so dull, it's killing me. I've been reading Onslaught and it's amazing so far. Also, Ibitsu Horror Manga Gold. Ooh, I like horror things, even though they freak me out, but that's what I want. I want to be freaked out. I've also been re-looking at Onslaught as well. I had to get some panels. Now I'm just deep in it. Grumpy Goat, thank you very much. The best horror comics are the ones that live rent-free in your head after you're done reading. It's in there. And I cannot wait to go and get the rest of the volumes. I can't wait. It's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have them all so they can scare me forever and I can hide them from my children so they don't open them and scare themselves. So Hand of Omega, thank you very much. If you were a supervillain, what would your name / gimmick be? Wig themed, perhaps. I mean, I definitely have wigs, but I just have wigs in real life. I feel like we got to do something a bit different if we're going to be a supervillain. I don't know. If I was going to be a supervillain, I'd want to be one of those ones that you don't see. Not the mega mind, it's presentation style supervillain. That's fine and all, but I want to be an effective supervillain who is in the shadows, nobody knows. And then at the end of everything, years later, you can come out and be like, it was me the entire time. So that you got to do the thing where you work your way in to the heroes as well and make it extra devastating. You want the it was me to have meaning. It can't just be it was me. They have to know you in some capacity, or it won't work. It won't be dramatic, Yes, it was The Devil. Aaron Kelly got the reference. I laugh at that all the time. The Devil's a horror movie by M. Night Shyamalan where they're trapped in an elevator, and while they're there, they're trying to explain whether it's good or bad. And this guy in the security tower who's watching is telling the story about how if you drop toast and it lands jelly side down, that's the devil. And so now whenever I feel curse slam, jelly side down. So I guess that movie did its job. Oh man. Jelly side down. Oh, yeah, I've watched that movie more than once. So the thing with me and horror, I've been asked before, like if I like horror comics and the like, and I really do. But when I was a kid, I couldn't do horror at all. And this is taking me back to that. I was the kind of person I would try and I would read Goosebumps and stuff, and I could do that, but I would have to turn the covers over. I would have to like flip them over, and like movies would mess me up forever. And so like I forced myself to power through it because it was bothering me. And now it's my favorite genre. I love it. That and sci-fi. Those two are my favorite genre things. I'm always looking for new things in there to check out. I don't know. It was like a challenge I set for myself. I'm like, I don't want to be afraid anymore. You can't make me afraid. I'm always looking for horror comics too, but I feel like I'm so hard on them, and that's why I don't review them too often. I'm like, I feel like I'm being hard, but it's one of those things where I love it so much. I'm trying to articulate it. It's like, when you love something so much and you just want to explain all of like the inner nuances and what's working and what's not working, and then when you're done, you realize you sounded like you hated it, but you didn't. That happens to be a lot. Like even in my X-Men 97, I was like, I said I liked it. And people are like, why do you hate things? And I'm like, do I hate things? I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe. I also get told I laugh too much a lot. When I did my last stream with Amanda, they're like, why can't you be serious? You laugh so much. It's joy. The joy in life. Life is laughter. Live, laugh, love, right? That's what the people think. I don't know. Honestly, it's pathetic. I've been trying to psych myself up to opening a page of this for you, and I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can look at the face again. And the other thing too, here's the other reason too. I'm like, I'm gonna hold it up and y'all are gonna laugh at me. You're gonna be like, that's dumb. It's not scary at all. Anyway, read it. Also, of course, Junji Ito. I don't think we need to pit them against each other, but Junji Ito was different. This PTSD Radio made me feel like there was something evil like around and like just cursed and just like a dread. Just like the author was tapping in to some kind of like dreadful energy. Like it felt like there was a curse. Junji Ito, I was fine. And then afterwards, the more I thought about it, it just some of those stories, like the guy who turns into the snail from like Uzumaki, that's not okay. The reverse birth from Uzumaki, but that one messed me up while I read it. The reverse birth was wrong. That was just not right. Yeah, horror things. That's why we need the healing power of laughter to get us through all of those things. I'm just way too critical of birth stuff though, in general. That's like my weird like thing where I get all like, ugh, that's not how it is. Reverse what? Tyler, I'm going to tell you about it. It's downstairs, so I can't show it to you, which is unfortunate because that I could show you because I don't feel like weird hair demon energy like I do with that. But okay, so these babies are born and then something goes wrong because of these like spiral mushrooms, and the babies need sustenance and they put them back inside of the mother. And so they're like sucking all like the nutrients out of her. And it's like a reverse The Brood. If you've seen The Brood, the ending scene of The Brood, which is what the entire movie is building up to, when she opens up the thing and it's just all of like the external womb sacs. Like imagine that, but like in reverse. Also, yeah, I guess spoilers for a movie from what, the 80s, the 70s. Yeah, The Brood was a real slow burn. I really liked that part of the third episode of X-Men 97 though, with all the horror references in there. That was a lot of fun. That was cool. I was like, I've seen these. I've seen these. I liked these. The shower scene, I didn't mention it. I think that was more Nightmare on Elm Street. There was lots of Nightmare on Elm Street vibes in that scene. Oh, I need to watch the Spider-Verse short. I saw it, it popped up, and I added it to my watch later, and I'm atrocious with my watch later. And then I don't. I'm like, I'll watch it later, but watch later, I think should just be renamed as I'm not going to watch this, because that's usually what ends up happening for me. And I remember later, it's one of those things where, like, if I'm gonna watch it, I gotta watch it now. Oh, right, it is late. I'm sorry. It is 11:30 at night. I'm like, horror, 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 horror. It's fine. Scary thing. Mm. Oh, the stuff. I love the stuff. The stuff. The stuff has a great explosion scene in it. And the ads in the stuff still hold up. Where the guy explodes from the stuff. That's a good scene. I'm sorry, it is almost midnight where the dark hour is upon us. We'll talk about happier, less scary things. It's not even close to the spooky season, which is all year for me. But it was interesting. One of the things, I'm enjoying seeing all the different opinions about, like, pacing and the like, and it's very fascinating to watch through the show as an adult, having read so much more X-Men now, and just seeing what that's like. And one of the most fascinating things is how much lore for the X-Men is just kind of osmosed through things, and some of it's not accurate. It's fascinating. I'm really enjoying looking at that. No, see, now you're all there. You're all like, I put you on the horror path. It's too late. No, we need to come back. I'm trying to think of, like, light, fluffy things. What's a light, fluffy comic? Twig, but I don't have Twig with me. Oz the comic. That's a good adaptation. It really is. That's a cute one. It's behind. No, don't, Dylan. Don't talk about Videodrome. I love Videodrome. Long live the new flesh. Now I'm going to be thinking about that. I just rewatched Videodrome the other day and thought how well it still holds up. I don't know. I don't love Clean Room so much. Someone's mentioning Clean Room. Care Bears. That's right. Care Bears adaptation one. New Care Bears. Oh, okay, Dylan. Dylan, if you love Videodrome, do you like what's it called? Antiviral? His son made that. Brandon Cronenberg. I really liked Antiviral. It was gross, but in, like, a good way. Okay, okay, we'll stop. Yeah, DC's Jeff the Land Shark. Remember when Marvel was pushing out all those unlimited series really hard? They don't promote them so much anymore. Or at least if they do, I don't see them. I fell off of those pretty hard. I still keep up with the webtoons and the like for the Wayne Family Adventures, and those, that's light and fluffy. And those have been collected now in trade. So if you want to have the physical ones, which I definitely did, you can do that, which I think is pretty cool. Mm. Balls Monkey, thank you very much. Are you excited for the Jurassic League movie? I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a lot of fun. These dinosaurs. People like big dinosaurs. Dinosaurs as superheroes. Ah. Yeah, the Wayne Family Adventures it's cute. And I'm glad. I think that's the best of both worlds, personally, in terms of if you can have the digital release on a platform like that and people can check it out. And then if it does well, it can get the physical release. I saw a copy of Everything is Fine in the store the other day, and that was super cool. I think it's better than when I was going through some of the older videos for the Larry video I did. I remember the digital first era where they tried to do the digital first, but the pricing is the same and the numbering was off and it just didn't fully work. But I think this way of giving it a really good head start in the digital for people who want to check it out that way. And then if the word of mouth spreads and they can still get a physical, you can have both, because physical is important. I do think physical media is incredibly important, but also if you don't have the space or don't want to engage with it, digital is a good space too. It's just digital has all those issues with ownership and people just yeeting things into cyberspace. So that is a problem. And not everybody has the time to do that thing where you, like, want the screen cap every page, because who has time for that? Some people. What's a comic that's been recommended to me a lot lately? What are people recommending to me? Lots of stuff people recommend I already have. Tokyo Ghost was a recommendation that I got, so I picked that up. People have been recommending the Energon universe a lot, and it's just not something I'm overly interested in. Not like that's not a positive or a negative. It's just I just sent that on to my brother. I was like, this is for you. These are the things that you enjoy. Yeah, Arthur's Sleep. I love the physical. Like I like to do both. I like both, but at the end of the day, I do like to hold it and have it and stroke it. And because that always happens. I'm always on camera and I'm like, look, and then I end up stroking. It's so awkward. Oh. Oh, I see. Yes. Send your Rex to my never ending list of things to talk about and get to. Yes, I have checked out the, narrative podcasts. In general, just as a concept, I like them. I really like old-fashioned radio dramas. When I was younger, there was an AM channel that I had. I don't remember what it was, but they just did old-fashioned radio dramas, and I always thought they were cool. They were a great way to just stay up late if you didn't have the TV or anything, and you could just listen to them. I really like them. It's, you know, lost art. They're really good. I'm glad that they're kinda low-key making a comeback. Yeah, I know. Always catching up all the time. Ah, but speaking of, it is late. It is 11:40. I hope I have undone the horror. I'm sorry about that. I get really excited about it. But I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, night, whatever it is. If you're celebrating Easter tomorrow, then happy Easter. Just have a great time. I hope everybody is not haunted by anything and just enjoyed comics and hanging out. And we will do it again soon. And I will have, hopefully, the next video you see will be the breakdown of episode 2 with all of the Magneto and Rogue history and Magneto's helmet, which I can't think about without thinking about Crest on Birdman's helmet, but we'll get there. And yes, have a good night and we will talk soon. I'm just going to keep rambling. So I will see you. Okay. Bye bye.